So it makes no sense for us to think that we can keep troops in 135 countries, 900 bases, and think we can do it forever. It's time for us to bring troops home. We've had troops in Japan since World War II and in Germany. Why are we paying for their defense? And the military is not equated to defense. Defense spending is one thing. Military spending is what Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex, and we have to go after that.
From the White House in the office of the President of the United States, we present an address by Dwight D. Eisenhower.
It commands our whole attention, absorbs our very beings. We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method. Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration. Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties. A huge increase in newer elements of our defenses, development of unrealistic programs to cure every ill in agriculture, a dramatic expansion in basic and applied research. These and many other possibilities, each possibly promising in itself, may be suggested as the only way to the road we wish to travel. But each proposal must be weighed in the light of a broader consideration, the need to maintain balance in and among national programs. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development. Yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
Office of Management and Budget estimated it would be something under $50 billion.
Outside estimates say up to $300 billion.
Baloney.
By any measure, the U.S. government has spent a fortune in Iraq, at least $437 billion so far, according to Congress. And up to $100 billion more, I should say, will be spent this year.
To make sure you can meet the missions we ask of you, we are increasing the defense budget.
Now there are 129,000 contractors, compared to 158,000 troops. You may have heard the military had trouble finding money for body armor for troops in Iraq. But the Defense Appropriations Bill does have $5,600,000 for a center named for winemaker Ernest Gallo, $1 million for the Water-Free Urinal Conservation Initiative, and $500,000 for winter sports in Alaska. Congress approved $500,000 for a teapot museum in Sparta, North Carolina.
At about $250 million apiece, the C-17 is a big, expensive expensive airplane, and the Pentagon says it has plenty of them. But that doesn't matter to Congress, which is about to force the Pentagon to buy another 10 C-17s. The defense spending bill is stuffed with projects the Pentagon does not want.
I've heard about soldiers in Iraq who've had to fight without the proper equipment. It turns out while they're doing without, the military has been ordering and storing billions of dollars in other equipment it doesn't need. But here's what's even worse. Half of what's on order isn't needed either. A big chunk is tagged for possible disposal even before it's delivered.
A United Nations committee has approved a resolution that could pave the way for a treaty restricting the sale of small arms worldwide. 139 countries voted yes. Only the United States voted no. More arms are manufactured in the U.S. than in any other country.
We spend more as a nation on defense than all the rest of the world put together. Who are we afraid of? Who are you afraid of? But, Brian, I'm not. And Iraq has never been a threat to us. We invaded them. I mean, it is unbelievable. The military-industrial complex not only controls our government, lock, stock, and barrel, but they control our culture.
And we now spend $1.2 trillion a year maintaining our current foreign policy. And I could find hundreds of billions of dollars there, and I wouldn't have to cut programs at home, programs that basically I don't agree with, but I don't feel like that's where we should cut first. I think we should cut out all this warmongering and bring our troops home, and I think politically it would be a smart thing to do.
Because I think the issue of war is so important that on principle because it's such a deadly issue, but it's also a major economic issue. I look at it carefully because all great nations usually go down when they spread themselves too far around the world. They go into an empire, then they can't afford it.
Explain why you don't think what's going on in Libya, or for that matter, the rest of North Africa, is any of our business.
Well, because I don't think they're up front with this. It is said that we're going there for humanitarian reasons, but have you ever noticed around the world there are a lot of humanitarian problems? One gross abuse of rights was in Rwanda. We didn't care too much about that. There's abuse of demonstrators all through the Middle East right now, but it's being done by governments that we endorse. They're our friendly dictators. So I think they're being very disingenuous when they say this is a mission for humanitarianism. It's probably more related to oil than anything else.
My goal is to make the connection for people to understand what's going on and why Al-Qaeda has become so militant and hateful toward us.
We have more enemies today and less friends than we have ever had in our country.